Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Kamloops for the MSEM format. I'm Caillou, and today we're going to be watching the semifinals match between 6KJ, who is playing a Blackless Xira combo, and that damn Pipsqueak, who's playing Abzan Heart Attack Control. Pipsqueak's deck aims to use Mastery of the Veil, along with Heart of Zadina to basically Torment of Hailfire your opponents out of the game. It also has some of the best one-for-one removal spells in the format and other crazy go-over-the-top win cons. Meanwhile, 6KJ's deck is based around Border Guardian plus Xira. Xira is untap all lands you control when a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield. Border Guardian bounces itself. With 4 or more lands you generate infinite mana. It has a bunch of tutors and redundancy, which allow it to win the long game in an otherwise difficult or removal-filled format. So right now, Pip has a turn 2 Prying Inquiry, but doesn't have any interaction past that. Meanwhile, 6KJ going to run out into the Sandstorm. I'm just going to get up to the requisite 3 lands and then 4 lands if 6KJ top decks one. Interesting that he's going for the second Clay Mesa, but I guess that's so that if he gets another land and it's not a red land, can still go infinite and win. Pip's going to run out the Prying Inquiry. This is an interesting choice, I think, because Collar of Hunger can pod itself to find Xira. Egg can pod something to find Xira. And 6KJ has double Border Guardian. So I'm not sure what I would take. It looks like Pip is taking the Collar, making it so that... Oh yeah, the Collar is actually the best choice because without it, Egg doesn't have... 6KJ doesn't have fodder for the Egg of Avarice. And additionally, because the Border Guardians bounce themselves. So the Border Guardians are the only ones. 6KJ does hit a 4th land there, though. Nebula of Empty Gold going to come down. Fix for the 4th color, blue, probably. Meanwhile, Pip, knowing that she's safe, can tap out for an Intrepid next turn, grab a powerful land like Nereba or Monument of Queens, and then it's just off. Or, actually, yeah, no, you would grab Heart of Zadina so you can Mastery the Veil, duh. And then it's just kind of off to the races there. Or if Pip is really worried about interaction, could just hold up the Clue, but I don't think that makes sense at all. I think you just run out the Intrepid because if 6KJ top decks a Xira, you're kind of dead anyways, and there's no guarantee of you hitting a removal spell. So 6KJ is going to play the Nebula, does fix for blue as expected, plays out the Egg, which is interesting. Now with another Prying Inquiry, I was going to say maybe play the Prying Inquiry, crack a Clue, but no. It's just going to go full Intrepid, and I guess the reasoning for this is with double Border Guardian, it doesn't matter if you grab one of them. Still good. If 688 top decks is 0, you're still dead regardless. That's a Collar of Hunger. I think 6KJ, this is actually interesting. So it looks like there's a misunderstanding where 6KJ thought that Egg of Avarice could sacrifice itself to tutor a 1-drop creature, in which case this game would already be over. As it is, it looks like 6KJ should probably wait until he draws another land, because at that point, can one turn, from his knowledge, he doesn't know that Pip has another Prying Inquiry, but from his knowledge, he should be worried about onboard removal, so yeah, it's going to wait. If he gets another land, what he can do is essentially play Collar of Hunger, immediately pod it for a Xira, play Border Guardian, go infinite, but at that point actually doesn't have an outlet for Xira, so that's actually outlet for the infinite mana, so that's actually kind of problematic. And 6KJ is on a 3-turn clock here. Pip not playing the Prying Inquiry, I'm actually kind of surprised by that. I guess the thought is can crack the Clue at instant speed if need be to dig for interaction. 6KJ does hit the 5th land. It's going to run out Collar. Oh, and actually interesting, yeah, in response to removal now. Okay, no, so it's going to Border Guardian. And Pip's going to let it happen. Bounces Collar, replays Collar. I actually can't replay Collar, but yeah, okay. That actually seems like a really bad play to me. And the reasoning for that is, with Collar on board, one thing that you can do is you can pod it in response. You can just play Collar. In response to removal, pod it into a Xira. Though I guess actually the thought is 6KJ wants a Border Guardian on the field to be able to pod into a Xira because wants to keep Collar of Hunger as an outlet for the infinite mana to go and win the game off of. Okay, so it's going to swing in for 4 with the Intrepid. I think you probably Okay, yeah, play Heart of Zadina, and now can generate 5 mana off Zadina, plus 1 extra from the swamp. Uh, Mastery of the Veil X equals 3 will kill 6KJ here. Edict, discard a card. I don't understand. Oh, I guess wants to Mastery plus Prying Inquiry, but also just forgot that she could. Yeah, I think. I don't know what Pip was. I guess Pip was being conservative, but yeah, 100% could have just Masteried into. Masteried for the 6 and just killed 6KJ there, especially since he was tapped out. I guess the worry was tutor with Border Guardian in response and do something. Though I don't think 6KJ has any life gain things, so that shouldn't matter. But yeah, that was kind of a beating for 6KJ. Had lots of lines that could have helped there, but then Pip just had the relevant interaction, and 6KJ just kind of stumbled. So let's look at sideboards really quickly before we move on to game 2. So for Pipsqueak, the Duresses are not super great because they don't hit the creatures. Demon Worthy is another piece of instant speed interaction, so I think you bring that in. Seal just destroys the combo deck because you grab a Xira somehow and you kill it. Either the Prying Inquiry or just it runs out a hasty one. You kill it, seal the Tomb it. That's just game over. Other than that, I don't think you. Oh yeah, and then you bring in Stolen Secrets. So I think you take out the Raptors, you take out the Duress, you bring in. So that's 5 cards out. Bring in 1 Deem, 4 Seal, and then what is the last one that you take out? You probably take out a Wincon. No, you're worried about Chrono Fracture, so you don't take out a Wincon. You probably take out a Descend. No, you can probably afford to take out a Descend or a Whisperwoods for the Stolen Secrets. That's my read on it anyways. Meanwhile, for 6KJ, I think Verita is more important, but I don't know if you bring in Verita. I think you maybe bring in 1 copy of Verita. Unbreachable Walls makes sense. Neutralize makes sense. Chrono Factor as a full playset does not make sense, but I could see bringing in a few copies. 6AJ's main deck is tight, and I don't have much of a grasp on what is very important to his deck. Actually, I think that I take back Chrono Fracture because Pip has more than enough win cons such that a single Chrono Fracture doesn't win. And if a single Chrono Fracture isn't winning, then you shouldn't be playing it. So Neutralize, Unbreachable Walls, maybe Verita, and I'm not sure what the outs are. Getting into game 2, it looks like 6KJ is mulled to 5. Has Xira, Beckon, Into the Sandstorm. Probably is going to keep 2 lands. Yeah, it looks like keeping Nebula, Unending Sands. Can go, I think, can go 0 on 1, but I don't think you want to do that. I think you just play a land, you play Nebula of Empty Gold. Then next turn you play Unending Sands, you can Beckon, that gets you up to 3 mana at least. Then, with you Into the Sandstorm, then you have 3 lands. Once you get to 5 mana, you can 0 plus Beckon in a single turn if Pip ever taps out. And that's your combo line. So Pip's just going to play a Barren Desolation. She has Exant up. It looks like she kept in the Rapture, which is actually very, very, very surprising to me. Probably in anticipation of 6KJ maybe doing like a more beatdowny plan as a backup. Also, Rapture is one of the few things that can hit Verita, but at 7 mana it is very steep. But yeah, next turn can also just hold up Whisperwoods plus Exant, and then once Pip hits 3 mana with Deem, it's kind of like this is just all interaction, baby. So yeah, 6KJ is going to play the Into the Sandstorm. Interesting that 6KJ brought in the Errolin, I guess, as another win con? Question mark? I guess it's also a decent fair card compared to Diasune Immolator, but it dies to a single villain. It dies to like a single anything, basically. I was going to say villainy trigger, but then I remembered this is not a villainy deck. Yeah, I think Children of the Clouds is very, very good for Pip here. She doesn't have it in hand, but I'm just talking about in general. Having an instant speed win con against this kind of deck where you need to constantly be vigilant is really, really good. Intrepid and Sevid also being relatively cheap helps a lot too. But I think that there are times where to avoid being juked out by like a Neutralize or something, you'd want to like keep up more mana. A fourth land for 6KJ. So is one land away from the Beckon plus Xira plan. Um, and Erlen provides an outlet for it as well. So I think the question is like, are you more worried about removal or are you more worried about hand attack? If you're more worried about a hand attack, I don't think you play the Erlen here. Um, but I think if you're more worried about removal, especially since Pip's keeping up mana, I think I think that's the more reasonable thing given the sheer amount of interaction that Pip is running. I think you just play the land pass, and if you draw a fifth land and if Pip taps out for Intrepid, you just win on the spot. Oh, so it looks like instead is going to beckon for something. What are you beckoning for? X equals 3. Beckons for a Border Guardian and just is going to bounce itself? Okay, in response to the ETB trigger, Pip's just going to exit it. Yeah, that felt a bit hasty to me. I guess 6AJ wasn't content to wait for a fifth land, but you know that Pip has interaction of some sort, so you just want to try and force her to tap out, or you have to play the long game. Oh, and the top deck sealed the tomb. It looks like on 6KJ's draw step is going to seal the Border Guardian, and that doesn't win the game on the spot. Unlike sealing a Xira, sealing a Border Guardian, it saves you for a turn, or not a turn, but it saves you because 6AJ still has a one-of copy, I believe, of Adiran Distractor, which can still be used as a combo piece, but it makes it much harder. A line that 6KJ can do here, though, is Xira into Wellspring of Creation, untap all lands, play Erlen. And that's a reasonably good, fair plan, because Wellspring it basically just tanks any sort of what do you call it? It tanks edicts for you. Erlen doesn't die to Pitwilt and can start generating a board for you. So, and now that your combo plan is out of the way, I think that's a fairly reasonable, fair play. I think the question is if you're worried about no, even if you're worried about Xira getting Pitwilted, I think that's probably your best out, because then you still have a Wellspring. No, is playing Wellspring first. Okay, and then it's just gonna pass. I think on end Pip is just gonna Whisperwoods probably. Yep, Whisperwood's coming down. Ideally, you probably want a removal spell that isn't Exint. Okay, can rebuy. Do you rebuy Intrepid as a win con? Okay, yeah, so it looks like Pip is going to rebuy Intrepid as a win con, especially since 6AJ doesn't have, is generally off the combo plan, probably. So yeah, you can. Okay, so I was going to say, you can just untap, descend the Wellspring of Creation. And then if you're worried about, okay, yeah, so I guess Pip is not going to play the Intrepid yet. And I was going to say, you hold up Deem, you also hold up Whisperwoods plus Exint here. So you're just fairly safe on all counts. 6AJ just top decks another land, unfortunately. And yeah, this is looking like a open and shut case. So on end, oh no, okay, I was going to say another Whisperwoods, but I guess not. And there's the Children of the Clouds. Okay, now Pip is tapping out for the Intrepid. I don't get this, if I'm being honest. This is just as safe as it was last turn, except I guess now you can pretend to hold up Exint. I don't know how much I agree with this, to be honest. Because there's only one way that you really lose this game, and it's if 6KJ draws an Adiran Distractor. Because you know 6KJ's hand. You know that he's got Xira. You know that he's got an outlet for Xira. You know that the only thing that he's missing is something that he can bounce with Xira. And I don't know why 6KJ didn't play the land there. I guess just to pretend to... I guess just to pretend that to have something up. Okay, so now 6KJ is like on a 2-turn clock here. It's not looking super great. Pip also has Children of the Cloud, so it's like eminently safe. Collar... So actually, if Pip didn't have instant speed interaction here, what 6KJ could do is Xira... play Collar, pod Collar into Border Guardian, then bounce infinitely, Erlen, win. Now the question is 6KJ going to go for it? It doesn't matter either way, because Pip has the Demon Worthy, and over and above the Demon Worthy has, Whisperwoods back and Exint. So, unless Pip horribly misplays this, she's got this game in the bag. And I think 6KJ just has to go for it. He knows that he's in a tight spot because he's on a 2-turn clock. He knows that Pip could potentially untap and just kill him like she did last game. So he's just going to go for it. Xira coming down. Collar coming down. I think in response to this, you just yeet Xira. No reason to wait. Oh no, Pip's going to let this resolve. And 6KJ just passes. And on end, it looks like is going to heart for a whopping 6. Play it all, children, and then can untap and just kill 6KJ. And yeah, 6KJ is just gonna concede there. And whew, yeah, I think that really shows the power of Demon Worthy and Pithwilt as a core. I think it also shows the problem with these linear combo decks is that disruption exists, and if you get hit with disruption and they happen to also have a clock, which Intrepid is just so good for slow decks because it provides you inevitability in the form of like like one of your best utility land, but also just like as a 3-mana 4/4 flyer, it presents like a terrifyingly fast clock, and we saw it like put in great work for Pip in both of those games. But yeah, still very much congratulations to 6KJ. Put in a crazy run to get to the semifinals, and this is his first GP as well, so no shame in losing in the semifinals, none at all. And I think he did some. Like, he did put in a ton of testing with this deck, did a bunch of goldfishing, and like, I think, from what I saw, barely made any mistakes during the playing of this GP, so nothing but congratulations to him. And also, same to Pip. She's been making a tear through this tournament, and has once again made it to the finals of this GP, just like the past few. However, she's been the bridesmaid but never the bride in those, always second place. Will that continue, or will she finally win or not finally, she's won quite a few GPs, but win her first GP in a while? Until the finals, this is Caillou signing off.